Hello, hello, my hey. I got something to say, women around the world and men that support you. What? Yes, I'm going to just say, what? What are you doing? You guys are so freaking awesome. I can't keep up with it. My prop up Tuesday, I keep getting more names from you in my jar. Love great humans. And speaking of one of them, Michele Garrett is in the house. Hi, Michele.
Woo!
Michele, I got to see you recently again. We met, I think it was at NSA, Philadelphia,
hmm
National Speaker Association. And then I ran into you again at Society of Professional Women. What about that?
I I know, and I actually met you the first time when I was at the Women's Entrepreneurship Conference at Westchester. Well, I didn't meet you. I saw you, and then
Okay.
I saw you. I was the back table, right?
Oh, okay.
Big room of women, and then when I saw you at the NSA, I went right up to you and said hi because I didn't really get a chance to say to you hi to you at the conference.
We have a lot in common.
We
And
do.
I love what you're putting out in the world. So we're going to get to it. I want to get to your statement. Women don't need fixing. They
Mhm.
need space to remember who they are. Okay. What made you pick this? Of everything you could pick, why does this resonate with you?
I think because maybe it's even in this day and age, maybe it's women always. I chose the coaching that I do because I think women are beautiful and powerful, and yet we don't always give ourselves credit for it. And sometimes we get caught up in the shoulds. I should be doing this. I should be wearing this. I should be living here. And really, if we just give ourselves time to peel away, in a sense, at what's really inside, I think there's all the answers. There's no need for fixing. It's just really bringing an awareness around and digging in.
I totally agree. Because when you say you need fit, like I'm like, you're not broken. Like it,
No,
I do not like that statement.
no.
Right.
I almost doubted putting it in because I don't like it. The
But I'm
fixing.
glad we need awareness around it because you're so
hmm
right.
hmm
So I wonder when for you that this really settled in. Like, why did it become so important? Is there something that happened in your life that like I got to change the way I think about this?
hmm Well, there's probably a few places, as many of us, right? A lot of transitions, a lot of times in our life. But I would have to say the first thing that popped in my mind is when I got separated, and really when I got separated from my first husband.
Hmm.
It's a tough time. There's a
Yeah.
lot of anger, there's a lot of words that are thrown around. And I think that was the point in time where I really had to realize that there was a really wonderful person inside of there. She just got a little lost for a while,
Hmm.
and just giving myself permission to take the time to figure out who I was now, right? And that I didn't need to be fixed. There was nothing wrong with me. It wasn't bad because I'm getting separated. It's life and it happens. And sometimes people get together and sometimes they don't grow together, and that's okay, right? Even though when kids are involved, it makes it so much harder. But I realized that I got lost in there and I wasn't really me, but I
Hmm.
always felt like I was wrong for it and doing something wrong. So I really think that's where it kicked in for me. I should say, I'm not sure I realized at the moment that I didn't need fixing, but what I did do for the next year and a half, just really adjusting myself, figuring out who I was, reinforced that it wasn't that I needed fixing. I just needed some time to figure out who I was now.
I like that. I just needed some time. And
Yeah,
I'll do.
yeah.
I can't tell you how many women I've spoken to. I had some questions for you, but it was all around why do they wake up in the morning and think about everything they have to fix about themselves
Oh, I
or
know.
what needs fixing instead of like shifting into starting from a place of strength. They don't,
Absolutely.
and these are strong
Absolutely.
women. They're like,
Exactly. And successful women.
yeah, but they
Right.
wake up and they're saying, yeah, tell Michelle, I get it. I feel like I'm a strong woman. I handle a
Mhm.
lot, but in the morning, my mind immediately goes, Mayday, Mayday, what's wrong? What
Right.
needs fixing?
Right. What else do I have to do? How can I, maybe not how can I mess up today, but what might go wrong today? We seem to tend to focus a lot on the negative things, a little bit of anxiety. And not to say that people who are diagnosed with anxiety, I know that's different, right? There's a little more chemical involvement in there. There's a little less control over those things. And yet there's a lot of us that just change the song, skip song to the next one because we have these reels or these songs we keep playing in our head over and over again around our almost self-deprecating in a lot of ways. And it's why I really chose to work with the audience I worked with is because I heard it a lot with women saying things like, "Oh, well, what am I supposed to do once the kids are gone?"
Yeah.
Things like that, that really, again, we forget that we just need a little space to figure out who we are and not that there's anything wrong with us because the kids are gone or we don't have that role anymore.
I'm going to put that big and bold space because I think it's
Yes.
true. You give you enough space. All right, let me tell them a little bit about Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett is a transformational life, transition, and leadership coach who helps high achieving women
Mm-hmm.
45 plus get clear on what they want next. Through her signature program, Reignite You, she guides women to rethink their future, restore their energy, strengthen relationships, and step into their next chapter with confidence and purpose. Michelle, is there anything that you do every morning to get yourself into that positive, powerful mindset?
Well, I'll tell you something I have always wanted to do, and I have started to do as a real habit every morning, and it's nothing earth-shattering, but I journal every single morning now.
It is earth shattering.
Well, because we've heard it so many times how good it is, and I heard it how many times how good it was. And what I used to do in the morning, I'll back up. What I used to do in the morning, I'm a big reader. I love that's my first thing. Even when my kids were little, I'd wake up literally, I'd set my alarm for what I thought would be at least 45 minutes before they woke up. So I had time for my coffee and I had time for my book. Because if I didn't, my whole day felt off. So I
See?
always, yeah. I always would read every morning, but I used to read what I would call like growth professional development books. And then I switched, maybe this sometime this last year, I switched to starting with journaling and I felt so much better. And I end my journaling with three things I'm grateful for the past 24 hours. And what I realized the difference of why I felt so much better is because when I was reading, I was putting a lot into my brain. Oh, I could probably do that today, or oh, I should think about this, right? A little bit of what you were talking about, right? We're trying to fix in that day. And when I journaled, it went out. So I made space in my head
I
for the
love
new
that.
stuff. So then
Yeah.
I could read and it was okay, but I first made some space
Yeah.
and I acknowledged what I was doing, how great I really tried to be positive. It wasn't just a what do I have to do today kind of thing, but really that, and then I would end it with gratitude. And those three things, it could be something as like, I was like this morning, I think I put, I love a snow day. I was so grateful for a snow day yesterday, right, in our area. So I really
Yeah.
think that that has really helped to shift a lot for me to not put more ideas into my head of what I could be doing and emptying out and recognizing everything I am doing.
I freaking love that.
Yeah, it's been so great. And I don't know why now I look back, right? I'm 61. I'm like, why have I not done this for
You
years?
weren't
Because it would
supposed
have
to.
so totally helped me. And I've
And
done the journaling, right, over the years, but in spots, different moments. I went through breast cancer and a mastectomy. I journaled then. but I haven't done it consistently. And now I do, and it's just been a game changer.
So what I'm hearing, I just want to make sure because I
Hmm.
think this is really an important tip because
Hmm.
I have so many, as you call them, I call them self-help growth books all
Right.
around me.
Hmm.
It's the balance of not just keep reading and reading and reading what you should be doing. It's the balance of taking some of that in, but also taking some time for you to get it out.
Yeah, our brains only have so much room in it, right? I mean, obviously our brains are wonderful. We have such a capacity, but we can only have, think of it as like we can only have so much in there. And at some point we got to get rid of some of the things that don't serve us so we have a little room and creativity to bring in what does.
Now, do you have a certain amount of time you journal, or is it different every day?
Probably way more than I should because I could sit there for, I mean, I'll sit there for at least a half hour because
That's
I do my
awesome.
journal and then I have these wonderful Reiki infused cards I got at my journal at my yoga studio. And they just have words on it. Like today it was surrender. And
I love
along
it.
with it was, what are the things that you need to surrender or let go of to make room for? So it's just it's a tiny little booklet, and it has the same things. There's only 24 cards, so I've definitely gone through them all. But I literally mix them up every morning, and I fan them open, and I pick one, and I write a little bit around that word, or it's almost like my little mantra for the day or my message for the day. So, and then I have my gratitude. So those three things I do every day. And it's at least a half hour. Sometimes, I could be longer just thinking about stuff and doing that. And then I read a little bit, it's lovely. It's a lovely way to start the day.
You know, with the new season,
Hmm.
I started adding that question in because sometimes I
Hmm.
would say it, sometimes I wouldn't. But my audience was like, we're really learning a lot because everyone starts their day in a different way, but it still puts them in a positive, powerful mindset.
Hmm. Yep.
And every time somebody comes on, you think they're going to say the same thing. They might say reading, they might say dancing. It's always so different. And then somebody
Hmm.
can resonate with that and go, oh,
Right.
okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Even for
It's
me, the
wonderful.
way you put it about, not just reading, but reading and journaling. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful balance. So
Yeah.
I
And
love
doing the journaling first, because you got to get the stuff out first. So there's room for the new stuff.
it, right? Because otherwise you
Mhm.
go, oh crap, I should have known that. Oh no,
Right.
I can do
I
that.
should be doing the shoulds the shoulds are, what are they? I heard the quote, right? You shouldn't should on yourself and don't let anybody else should on you either.
Believe it or not, when I did my TEDx, the young lady, she did a TEDx on shoulds like that.
Hmm.
And everyone's like, is that a big enough TEDx? It was the most popular TEDx.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we
I
do
should,
it. And I think it's, I forget now, of course, because it's shame. Oh, it's shame plus could. Someone said that once, that should is shame plus could. And it's almost that place where you could, but you're ashamed if you didn't, or you don't. And I think it comes down to not shooting on ourselves and just accepting who we are in the
yeah.
moment, because a lot of times we're always, especially in this day and age for women, older women, younger women. I see it in both, even though I work with older women, but people are comparing all the time. The social media is just so hard on that,
It really
really
is.
making people feel that they should be doing all these other things. And being able to stay authentic and give yourself space to just be who you are is super hard to do in this day and age.
It's really hard because I'm not saying it wasn't difficult in other ways, but
No.
now it's so easy to sneak in there and start comparing yourself
Hmm.
because even for business, there's certain things you have to do on social media, right? And
Hmm.
then you get on there and you're like, what? They got what? And they're
They're
doing what?
doing what?
It's so easy just to see all the shiny. So
Right.
you
And it
just
is.
say
It's
to
hard.
your face, and I say, you got to take a step back. You have to take a
Mhm.
beat
Yes,
and think, oh,
exactly.
wait a minute. Is this a shoulda thing? Nah, I don't want to do it. All right. We better move on. Okay.
Hmm.
I love the energy one. So Do it daily energy check. One thing that gave you energy and one thing that drained you. So, what's the one thing that you would say consistently drains women in this stage of life that they may not even realize it? Is there anything that you see consistently draining women, or is it all different?
I mean, honest, I think doubting themselves, like doubting their abilities, or doubting their choices, doubting the direction they want to go, doubting their heart is the most important, really, that you're not listening to your heart. But I think just that constant doubt and not trusting what's inside of you and what your heart or your voice or your mind is telling you.
So true.
Mm-hmm. Because that can debilitate you. Because if you're thinking that something is really important to you, but you're doubting about doing it, or maybe you're listening to your friend or you're listening to a spouse that's saying, like, oh, yeah, for instance, starting a business, right? How many times people say, oh, well, what are you going to do about insurance? What are you going to do about this? Like, aren't you, why would you leave a steady job for that? Right? The doubts all the time, the questioning, and not trusting your heart.
You know, I don't know how many years ago, I said, when I was peeling back more layers, like
Hmm.
they say sometimes you really change every 7 years. And I remember thinking,
Hmm.
who am I surrounding myself with?
Hmm.
Because all of them are going to be dreamers and entrepreneurs and risk takers. But the people I do tell, I'm going to make sure they are. Because
Yeah. Right.
I
Exactly.
know they won't just tell me anything, but they're going to be supportive of what I'm trying to accomplish. Where somebody else doesn't mean they don't love me or care about me, but they can't even get there because they're looking through a different lens of something they would never do.
Absolutely. And they're not, and sometimes it comes from them maybe wanting to do something and just being afraid. And so that is being transmitted to you as well. When I decided to jump in and not, have a full-time job anymore. So literally, and I'll say this is literally almost exactly a year ago, Friday, the 27th, is 1 year. I'd been with the job 15 years, loved it, loved the people. And we designed and delivered training programs for federal employees. So that really changed last January. And in one day, 44 of us were furloughed and then subsequently laid off. I had just turned 60. I was like, I love this job. I'm going to stay here till I'm 65. I had the coaching business on the side. I'll do it when I retire, right? That whole plan. And
Mhm.
then, boom, right? So I pivoted and decided to go all in with the business as opposed to on the side, as I called it, for the past two
Side
years.
hustle. Yeah.
Right, the side hustle. I can't tell you if I would have really listened to people, oh, or what are you going to do about benefits? Will people pay that? Do people pay for coaching? It's really interesting how much can come from the outside and how long it takes. It took me a little bit too to just not hear it and
Yeah.
to keep on my path and to not go, are they right? Is that right? Nobody's gonna, because we doubt.
Yeah.
And when we doubt our heart, then it doesn't. And I'll say a year later, damn, am I glad I listened to my heart because
Mm.
everything is exactly how I probably dreamed about it somewhere
Aw.
back in my head, uh,
Yeah.
over the years of what it would be like to do this kind of work, to do things that just are passionate. I not only coach women, but I'm also work with high schools, with middle school and high school girls because I was a teacher before. So I'm sort of merging the coaching with the support, and I'm getting to build this whole little life of just the different things that work that light me up.
So the universe gave you a push, didn't it? Even
Absolutely. And I took it. It Now I won't lie, there was a little bit of part for me for a bit that was like, oh, gotta get the security. I need to look for the full-time job again, all of that. but it didn't last too long, I have to say, because I had this, because 4 or 5 years ago, I listened to my heart around coaching and I did the program. I put together my own program. I did all of that. If I hadn't listened to myself, that heart, and doubted myself, I think it was about 6 years ago, I wouldn't be here now.
That deserves a sticky note somewhere. Okay.
I like it. I like it. I'm a post-it note now. Perfect.
Yeah, I do. Little sayings, little quotes, just to remind me. Okay. Create one small boundary that protects you. One place to say no. Pause or not over. Explain.
Mm.
Why do women over explain boundaries, Michelle? Why do we do that?
Again, and you've probably heard this before, right? No is a complete sentence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We don't think that. We always feel, and I think honestly, I think it just comes down to that, the kind of the nesting caregiver that women role for, hundreds, thousands of years. That's sort of, that is our place in most of the time. And I don't mean, I'm not being stereotypical here or anything like that, but I think that sometimes we feel like we can't take time for ourselves because for so much of our lives, it's about taking care of everybody else, whether it's a partner, a spouse, parents, kids. We always tend to put ourselves last. So just putting boundaries around what's important to you and what is a non-negotiable, and that it's still okay. You're still being all those other good things. You're still being a good wife, a good mom, a good daughter, all of those, but you still are allowed to have that boundary for you.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It was a,
Mhm.
I cannot tell you. I have practiced for years. Like once I say no, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make, just trying to
Mm,
pretend there was a zipper in my
exactly.
mouth.
Right, not say, oh, I have something else at that time, right? Or sort of like you're softening the blow always
I
when you
mean, I
say
went
no.
over, I'd go on and on like my blah, 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 because I would feel such the D word.
Yeah, right. That's another one there, right? That's another one there for sure.
Ugh. All right. We spoke about this, but make space for making a decision if you feel stuck. Don't push harder. How
Hmm.
do you think that hurts us by pushing harder?
Well, I would say it goes both ways, right? Because you don't want to wait too long either and keep mulling and mulling and mulling and mulling. But I think sometimes if something doesn't feel exactly right, I don't know if we always trust the fact to give ourselves time to listen to that. Um, because I think sometimes we're like, oh, we're supposed to do this, we're supposed to do this. Let me make a decision, let me do it. But sometimes there might be a little something needling at you that's like, something doesn't feel right. But you go, no, 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 you're just overthinking it, just do it. And I think we have to listen to that voice too sometimes and listen to why it's needling at us. Sometimes we think it's like as women that we're over analyzing or we're too emotional, right? We've been told this so many times. And I think knowing that there's a really good book, and I all I remember from it is this by Malcolm Gladwell called Blink.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the one thing I remember in there is that he said that we thin slice anything that happens. Meaning, like if you meet somebody and you just get a bad whatever from them, you don't trust yourself and you think, oh, I should give them another chance. But then you feel the same. What he's saying is when we thin slice, we're really taking that particular situation or that decision and we're putting it around this whole set of parameters that are already sitting up here, just really quick. And it's so if our gut is telling us something, we should listen to it. So when I think about making space like that, I think about those situations where we don't trust that maybe we need to hit a moment of pause to let it sit. Our world is we're so fast now, everything, right? Got to move, 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 make decisions everywhere. And sometimes it's okay to just say, you know what, something's telling me I got to sit on this and just to do that.
Hmm. Uh, so I want to back up on what you said
Hmm.
because I'm trying to get the visual. What
Hmm.
do you mean about this little tape, this thin sliver? I still don't have the visual.
So, say for instance, you meet somebody and something rubs you wrong about them, right? Maybe the way they say something or the way they're dressed, or maybe they're not looking you in the eye. I'm just really pulling anything, right?
Okay.
But then you think, and then you thin slice around people you've met in your life that maybe have these things, and you kind of think to yourself, oh, this seems to be an indicator to me of X, Y, and Z,
I got
because
you.
you've got these characteristics or these little columns, I think of them as, and you're just sort of taking a little slice off the top, not digging in deep. You're not digging in deep with this person, but something is hitting your little spidey senses.
I got it. I got you. Now I have the visual.
There you go.
Very visual. Okay. So the 1%, it's not like I haven't heard it before, but I want to
Hmm.
dive into it a little bit more. Focus on a 1% improvement. What's one small step I can take that moves me forward? I've also heard like, what's one thing you could do today and like celebrate it or just pick.
Hmm.
And it boggles my mind because I so much believe in that. I mean, I've written
Hmm.
books on all it takes is 1 to 3 minutes that those, not that you shouldn't do 30 minutes, 45 minutes an hour, but it's those little things you do every
Hmm.
single day.
Right.
But we blow them off. We think that's
I
not.
know. Right. It's true.
What reset can we do to go, no, it really matters? Because I can tell you, I did studies and studies on this years ago. And if people thought it was too simple, too easy, not going uphill both ways, oh, it's just not going to work.
Right. We give
It's
up.
not true. It's not true.
Hmm. No.
So I need to figure out like what can we say to ourselves that resets it so we do realize focusing on 1% improvement really does matter.
So I will say this. I think a couple things.
Okay.
I wish people a slow journey when they want to make a change, because we are in this world now of quick answers, right? Oh, I have a headache, take this, right? I've got this pain, the doctor gives you a prescription, right? We're taking a lot of the quicker fixes, and we expect, because our world is so reactive, right? If I have a question, I ask Google and boom, got the answer. Right. It's everything is so fast now that we expect that things and change can happen quickly, I think. This is just my kind of theory of things.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I talk to women, when I have my strategy call and I talk to them about my program and all of that, how I describe it, and I think this is how what's his name did it in Atomic Habits. I forget his name now, James somebody. In Atomic Habits, he's the one who talked about the 1%. He talked about, and this is how I explain it to the women. You get in a plane in Philadelphia and you are going to LA. You get in the plane, you got your book, you put your things on, you take a little nap, you binge watch that series. If the pilot is tweaking that little knob just a tiny bit, you're never even going to notice it in the car, in the airplane, but you're going to end up in Seattle. And I think of working and coaching and going through my program 6 months of going through, and I have 4 pillars, 12 different topics of things that I have worked with women to identify, like what are the things that annoy, give you a little pain, a little angst, and what's your dream? And we just work through one thing at a time. We tweak the knob, we tweak the knob, we
I
tweak the
like
knob.
that. I
And then
love.
when you get to the end of the 6 months, the idea is the same thing as if you got out the plane in Seattle. You go, huh, look at that. Look where I got. But in the meantime, you don't even notice that you've been making these little micro adjustments along the way that have gotten you. It's like the headlights on a car in a dark road. You go A to B, you know kind of where your destination is, but you can only do A to B. And then when you get to B, you go, all right, can I go C or D? Which way am I going? And that's how I think of that.
I love it. I love that. The subtle, you don't see it, but you could end up in Seattle.
Yep,
Unbelievable. And it's so true. I can tell
true.
firsthand from owning health clubs, too much drastic, they don't stay with it, but the little
Yes.
increments, man, oh man.
Absolutely. One, right? If you lose, if you go, if you do some kind of thing that's going to have you drop 20 pounds in 2 weeks, it's not as efficient as you dropping 1 or 2 pounds, 3 pounds a week, right?
Absolutely.
Slow pieces. So that's why I say I wish people a slow journey with change because those are the things that stick.
By the way, Atomic Habits is with James Clear.
Clear. Thank you.
I
I knew
just,
it
I
was, yeah.
only because
Yeah,
I just referred the book to somebody and they're like, oh my God, it's
it
so
it
freaking
is.
awesome. All right, listen, you're magnificent. I'm excited for people
So
to
are
work
you.
with you. And I love the way you broke everything down. It's like, okay, I can visualize that. I can see it. And I know that there are so many women and men that support us around the world that are going to benefit. But one thing I want to ask you,
Hmm.
I always end with this. If you could whisper one message in a woman's ear tomorrow morning that you believe would have a huge impact, what would you say to that woman?
I mean, it's going to be cheesy. Same. You are perfect just as you are.
I love cheesy.
I know, but I also think of like my tagline is blossom into your best, and I think it's that. It's your best. You are beautiful in there. Whatever your best is the best.
I'm like a walk-in Hallmark club card.
I tear up at Hallmark commercials.
I mean,
Yeah,
as cheesy as it is, we need to tell ourselves that every morning. I would
absolutely.
put subliminal messages in our heads.
No, we doubt ourselves and we are really amazing, beautiful beings. And we need to remind ourselves of that every day.
I love it. It's a
Woohoo!
great thing to end on. All right, Michelle, when they
Mm-hmm.
work with you and reach out
Mm-hmm.
to you, how can they find you? What's the best way?
The best way would be through my website. For that, Michelle, no, sorry, I'm forgetting my website name, mgarrettcoaching.com. So it's two R's, two T's. And there's a little more information about me, about the program that I put together, trademarked. That's in there, some descriptions, and then there's a place to set up a strategy call. And it's not a salesy call. It really, in and of itself, it's a clarity call because we talk about your vision, what's getting in your way, what's the impact of you not hitting that vision. And so just in itself, it's a real clearing up and it's so lovely to talk about these things because we don't. We sit it in our head like we
Yeah,
think we know where we're going in a year. But when we have to verbalize it, or when we think about what happens if we don't, it changes it a little bit, makes it a little more real.
I agree. There's no
Hmm.
downside. Freaking get your call, your 30-minute call with Michelle. You
Yep.
know you want it. All right, my head got something to say, women around the world and men that support us. You know there's at least one person you want to share, like, rate it, and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Bye, Michelle, and toodles.
Toodles. Bye bye.